Welcome back to Katana TCG. We're going to go over another early deck list of what Hisuian Samurott VSTAR might look like with the release of Astral Radiance. Let's go. When it's time to flex on your opponents in Top Cut this season, or even just upgrade your TCG accessories, make sure you're checking out inkgaming.com. They have a wide variety of custom playmats, custom dice bags, face masks, as well as mouse pads too, and a grip of sleeves and dice and deck boxes, all your TCG accessory needs. And you can use the code DADSPOD10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order from inkgaming.com. Your game, your style. Before I dive into this early deck list, I want to give a huge shout out to Jake Gearhart as well as TaloniteX on Twitter for providing me the English translated proxies for Astral Radiance, as well as access to Pokegear app and all the data uploaded to it. It's a wonderful online application that you can look at a wide database of cards from previous formats as well as current formats, and easy to upload these future card images, allowing you to look at a deck about basically anything. And if I'm not mistaken, you can utilize this for stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh! As well as Magic as well. Super simple to use. Definitely check them out. Now let's go ahead and dive into that Hisuian Samurott list. Hisuian Samurott V, 220 HP basic darkness Pokemon. For 1, darkness energy does Basket Crash, which discards 2 Pokemon tools from your opponent's Pokemon. Being able to deny Cape of Toughness, Big Charm, Air Balloon, as well as Tool Jammer early in the game or at any point in the game for 1 energy is pretty necessary. For 3, darkness energy, Hisuian Samurott can do Shadow Slash for 180 damage, which is a pretty high damage output, and you have to discard an energy from this Pokemon. Weak to Grass, 2 retreat cost. Let's go take a look at Hisuian Samurott V-Star. 270 HP V-Star for 2 dark energy. Merciless Blade does 110 damage. If your opponent's Pokemon has any damage counters on them already, this attack does 110 more damage, and it's V-Star power, which has great synergy with Merciless Blade. Zangetsu Star, during your turn, you may put 4 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. This is any Pokemon. This is a lot like Dragapult, but it is an ability. It's like a one-time, really gnarly quick shooting ability that Hisuian Samurott provides, and it makes that Merciless Blade attack pretty hefty one time. Because Merciless Blade can deal a max output of 220 if there are damage counters already on the Pokemon, disregarding existing damage counters on that Pokemon, Zangetsu Star can allow you to hit that 260 range, which is pretty spicy in a format like this, especially if you're spreading damage counters in other fashions. In my build of Hisuian Samurott, I've elected to go the Galarian Zigzagoon route. Being able to get this Pokemon out early with things like Level Ball as well as Quick Ball gives me an advantage to quickly place damage counters on my opponent's Pokemon to engage Merciless Blade's maximum damage output in future knockouts on other Pokemon early in the game. We also have added the Absol that comes out in Astral Radiance as well for 1 darkness energy. This attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. It's a minor amount of spread. However, if there are damage counters already on your opponent's Pokemon, Merciless Blade deals huge knockouts. We also have the Gapejaw Bog Stadium, where any player puts a basic Pokemon from their hand onto their bench, they put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon, thus engaging Merciless Blade's full potential attack and softening up your opponent's Pokemon as well. Unfortunately, there is a silly interaction where I put Zigzagoon down to put 1 damage counter on them, and I take 2 damage counters with Gapejaw Bog in play. Seems silly, but if it ends up getting knocked out or becomes a liability, we do play a Clara, which can help us get those Zigzagoons back into play and placing damage counters onto our opponent's Pokemon. And the reason why I've opted this route, because I think it's faster to get a Zigzagoon out than it is to create a stage 2 attacker in the form of the Rapid Strike Inteleon with the quick shooting ability that we got in Chilling Reign. Although I understand that Shady Dealings has provided a specific level of consistency in a lot of decks, I think that going the route of Bidoof and Bibarel with the Industrious Incisors draw power has given us a mediocre level of consistency, but also provides us a lot more space in the deck to kind of move around and be a little bit more nimble of a deck, a lot like early Dragapult lists looked like. No dark deck is complete without a single prize Galarian Moltres. I do run 1 Clara, which allows me to get the energy back into my hand, as well as pull Galarian Moltres, as well as my Zigzagoons out of the discard pile, but I have been able to use that Clara in more than 1 instance during my proxy games. The last Pokemon we'll talk about in this list is the addition of Sparkling Hawlucha with its Big Match ability. If this Pokemon is on your bench, your Pokemon's attacks deal 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon VMAX. There is some merit to Hisuian Samurott VSTAR without placing any damage counters as well. Between using Sparkling Hawlucha's big match ability and Merciless Blade already dealing 110 damage, that's 140 damage output without any damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon as is. Then we add Choice Belt, which bumps that up to 170. If you're swinging for weakness, you're automatically taking one-hit knockouts on dark weak things. So don't worry if you're not able to get those damage counters out there. There are other outs to deal massive one-hit KOs on things like Mew VMAX, as well as Shadow Rider and Dragapult. So here's what the supporter line in my deck looks like. I run 3 Marnies. This is the highest count of draw supporters I run in this deck. With Industrious Incisors, I really like the combination of being able to manipulate my opponent's hand whilst drawing into extra cards. But if I can play out those 5 cards that I get from my Marnie and draw into an extra 5 or 4 with Industrious Incisors from Bibarel, I think I put myself in a better board state where being able to mess with my opponent's hand at the same time is super duper useful in this format. I did go with 3 Boss because being able to gust the Pokemon that do have damage counters on them is important for Merciless Blade for sure. I do run 2 Professor's Research. There are so few resources in this deck that I like to get rid of, but there are specific instances where Professor's Research may be one of 2 cards left in your hand. Being able to draw into 7 playable cards is never a bad thing. I do run 1 Raihan because Merciless Blade is such an easy attack to get off with just 2 energy. Being able to bounce back into a whole Hisuian Samurott VSTAR by just accelerating 1 energy from the discard pile and then being able to go into my deck and search for something that I need to make this deck go forward is really important. Only playing 1 Raihan for my playstyle feels bad, but I understand that there aren't a lot of instances where you want to count on getting knocked out to get ahead in the game. 1 of Clara. Clara is important to me because in an Ultra Ball format, there may be instances where you need to get rid of a Bibarel or get rid of a Bidoof or get rid of one of your last V-Stars, and I think being able to put those Pokemon back in your hand late game is really important. And not to mention, I also play the Galarian Moltres from Evolving Skies. Being able to go grab 2 of the Darkness Energy that I need to pull off the Malevolent Charge and grab the Galarian Moltres out of the discard pile at the same time is pretty bonkers. So Clara, I think, is important in the next format going forward. 4 Quick Ball, 3 Ultra Ball, 3 Level Ball. Level Ball, I understand, is really iffy in a deck like this, especially one that doesn't play Shady Dealings, but you're able to get your Bidoofs out, you're able to get your Galarian Zigzagoons out. It also has the ability to hunt down that Sparkling Hawlucha, which is the difference between softening up a VMAX and one-hit knocking out a VMAX. We also got a new card called Trekking Shoes. You look at the top card of your deck, and you may put that card into your hand or discard it and draw 1 extra card. This is huge for an item card. This is being able to draw through 6 cards in your deck if you played 3 Trekking Shoes in 1 turn. With the combination of Industrious Incisors, I think that Trekking Shoes has a huge place in this format, and I think it makes this deck even faster because our goal is to get damage counter spread on our opponent's Pokemon as early as possible to utilize Merciless Blade to its fullest potential. Scoop Up Net, it's a pseudo switch card as well as a I need to reuse Headbutt Tantrum a million times card. Dark Patch is another card that's getting reprinted in Astral Radiance. You attach a dark energy from your discard pile to one of your bench dark Pokemon. I only run 2 of them because we do have such a low energy cost for all of our attacks unless you're Galarian Moltres, but it has the Malevolent Charge to allow us to speed that up. I think with the addition of Ultra Ball, Palpad has never been stronger. Being able to confidently send a supporter that you may need late game into the discard pile to go grab the Pokemon necessary to, keep the game going forward, especially aggressively. Palpad's that savior that allows you to kind of put that Raihan back in the deck for late game. I think just 1 of them is necessary in this deck. Escape Rope is our only official switch card in this deck. It puts our opponent in uncomfortable positions and kind of helps get my attackers into areas they need to be. We do run an Air Balloon as well, but the Escape Rope, I think, applies a little bit more pressure to my opponent. 1 of Tool Scrapper. I understand that the Hisuian Samurott does the same thing, but because Merciless Blade really only deals 220 damage if there's damage counters already on a Pokemon, I think it's important to promise that there aren't any capes or big charms lying around for you to take knockouts on those precious V Pokemon that your opponent have kind of sitting on the bench and stuff. 2 Choice Belt, because multiplying damage output is always a good thing. The Cape Jaw Bog that we had talked about, whenever any player puts a basic Pokemon from their hand onto their bench, they put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. The one of air balloon that we had mentioned before, the retreat cost of the Pokemon this card is attached to is 2 colorless less. Most cases we're going to attach this to our Beaverell as a pivot card. And 8 dark energy. You need so few to make this deck go forward, and that's really what provides a lot of space in this deck and makes it incredibly versatile. I hope you liked looking at my Hisuian Samurott list. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this deck progresses in the future. I've seen a lot of people combo it with things like Urshifu. I've seen a lot of people tech in things like Galarian Zapdos and so on and so forth to turn it into a weakness box. But I think a pure Hisuian Samurott list definitely has a place in the format, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the deck progresses and how it's utilized in other fashions. If you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see a specific deck that's coming out in Astral Radiance next week, go ahead and comment below. Go ahead and give me a follow on twitch.tv/KatanaTCG as well. We are giving out a Brilliant Stars Build and Battle box when we get to 25 subscribers. And thanks again for coming to Katana TCG and enjoying this early preview of what Hisuian Samurott VSTAR might look like in a deck of its own.